All right.
Okay, so we are here with Erik and Hannah Kallio. Is that right?
Kallio.
Kallio. Okay. And you guys are jointly applying for the Director of Learning position. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. Will you please take a few minutes to talk about your relevant background experience?
Sure. I have an elementary education bachelor's degree from the university here in Morris, or in Minnesota, and spent 3 years teaching, and then spent the last 7 years in the business world at an engineering company where I was training and teaching and creating documents, videos, um, training protocols, and curricula to teach and train both customers and the new internal people at our company. And we've also been working together, my wife and I, at that same company. We would go to different countries and to different clients and teach them how to use the equipment that they were leasing from the company we were working at. And along with that has been our teaching our children. We homeschool, and we've been coming up with our own curricula and training them over the last 7 years.
We also have some experience living in community and collaborating with people in different settings, which I think is really relevant in this situation as well.
Okay, Hannah, that's one of my questions. I am getting that background noise. Maybe without being too awkward for you, could you come a little closer to the mic?
Yeah, sure.
All right, sorry about that. I'm just want to make it clear. That's good. Hannah, will you talk more about that? Your background too, your experience specifically with you. I have some notes here from your resume. So your experience developing healthy communities. That's one thing you explicitly said in there. Can you talk more about that?
I'm having a hard time hearing you now.
Okay.
Sorry.
Is that okay?
Yep.
Definitely.
Hannah, can you talk more about your experience working to develop healthy communities? That was in your resume.
Definitely. When we were both in our 20s, we were part of a community that was forming at the time. We were one of the founding members. It was a small community, about a dozen people when we started, of like-minded individuals, and we worked on a lot of projects together and learned a lot about what it takes to be creative in group thinking situations, what it takes to solve problems together, also what it takes to deal with relational issues that come up when you're in community.
Great.
So that was a really formative learning experience for us. And then we took a lot of that we learned into our situation in our own family, trying to develop a learning community between us and our children, and then extending that out into the larger community as well.
Okay, great. I really do want to dive into some of your experience living community, but I want to establish up front you guys, your credentials to do the job. So I feel like it's awesome that you guys worked at the same company for 7 years or more. That's nice to see that you're consistent like that, and then you have a lot of good experience developing curriculum. Can you, in your resume, I have notes here. So you developed, Erik, you said in your curriculum, or in your resume, you developed curriculum. You did training curriculum flows, training presentations, technical bulletins. Can you talk more about those skills?
Sure.
It's important to note that there was no training program when he started at this company, and they had never had a trainer before.
Okay.
So I came in as a representative doing troubleshooting and traveling to different customers, and just was thrown into this environment where it was sink or swim, and tried to make as many documents from what I'd learned to help other people along the way. And as I continued to make these documents, people kept saying, these are so great, we need more of these. And so I spent more and more of my time creating training manuals and documenting what I knew and what people were telling me. And then I spent more time interviewing the people in the company, the engineers and the software people, and across the board, and trying to figure out the things that we needed to know in the company that just weren't written down. Everything was up in somebody's head. As I did more of that, I started to put together a training curricula for our customers, actually, so they would understand the products better, and created 2 manuals for different product lines that we had, and then created a whole training outline for the new people that would come in to do the job that I was doing beforehand, and then created a flowchart for how to train them. So starting at day 1, what do you do? What articles do you need? What lesson plans do you need? And how to assess them and see how they're doing throughout the training course.
Okay, that's exactly what we love to see, because we a lot of this stuff we're starting from scratch and building systems that haven't been built before within the organization, and we love the self-responsibility and the ability to create systems that other people can tap into and use. You know, maybe if you move on eventually, you can create something that others can pick up them. So you're not just doing the job, you're actually creating the system. I love that. I'd love to also see examples. Do you have anything that you can show, or is that all proprietary and you're not able to show demonstration projects?
I have a few things that I could send you. I don't know if I have them at my fingertips right now, though.
Right now is okay. We could just, what I would ask you to do is just to embed them in your wiki page that you guys are developing. Sure. Below your 2-minute video intro that you guys did, you could put a section for work samples.
Okay.
And just embed them there. That'd be nice to see. Okay. Let's make sure that there's no barriers logistically right off the bat. So, let's see. We're finding out that it's pretty important that we clarify that we don't have health insurance right now, and we generally do not pay for travel costs. We're a startup and we're not able to do those kinds of things right now.
Right.
And then you guys would, at least for the time being, be working as independent contractors. Now, are any of those problems for you guys?
I don't think
I can think of.
Okay. Would you want to? So would you? It sounds like maybe your children are not fully grown. Would they also come with you?
I lost the audio.
The audio there.
Sorry. It sounds like your children may not be fully grown, so would they come with you?
They would be living with us there at the farm, correct?
And you have 4 children?
Correct.
And how old are they?
10, 7, 4, and 2.
Okay, do you guys have any interest in building a home in order to house your family, or what's
that would be ideal if we could, yes.
When would you be ready to do that? If that were possible, when would you want to build that?
We would be available to start as soon as possible.
Okay. That's a pretty interesting opportunity to have a family on site.
I think it could be really beneficial to everybody.
Yeah, we're trying to build a community that's really robust, and sounds like you guys have a lot of interesting experience. Let's get into more of the community aspects. So, are you guys comfortable with having, we'll have a full-time documenter on site who's, going to be producing weekly blog video updates and general, like, movies and instructional videos. Are you comfortable with having a camera around and that being transparent?
For sure.
Okay.
We like to live our lives transparently.
Okay. All right, let's dive into some of this stuff. What are your personal goals for self-development? Another way to ask that is, how do you personally challenge yourself to learn and grow in your daily lives?
I think both of us challenge ourselves, but also each other in the context of our relationship as husband and wife. We challenge each other to probe into areas where we're afraid. Usually fear is an indication that something needs to change. There's growth that needs to happen. And I'm personally convinced that fear is the #1 barrier to a healthy learning community.
Wow.
Fear has devastating physical effects on the body, and those alone will shut down learning and creative thinking. But then if you add to that the emotional aspects. And in community, people are always going to be pushing each other's buttons. They're going to be hurts. They're going to be issues to work through. And the temptation is always to point the finger and say, he did it, or he's making me feel bad, or whatever, when in reality, the enemy is fear.
Okay,
So,
interesting. Yeah.
I think the two of us, we're continually challenging each other to face those fears and deal with them and find out what's really going on below the surface of that, so that we can move forward to the next level of maturity in whatever area we're working on.
Okay, great. Yeah, and there's Eric, did you want to expand on that, or are you good?
I think the other thing that we're always reading and always looking for another new idea to bounce off each other and think about. And along with that, we're teaching our children, we're homeschooling our children, and they're always asking questions, and we're always looking things up and trying to understand things better for them and understand things better for us. And those are the things that we do to help develop ourselves even more.
Okay, great. Do you have any hands-on experience working with your hands?
Yes. At this job that I was doing for the last 7 years, a lot of it was building machines, was out in the field. It was in hatcheries, turkey, chicken, and duck hatcheries, where I would be fixing machines and trying to get them up and running before the next day.
What kind of machines?
That was, very hands-on.
What kind of machines?
The machine was, before the machine, they used to have to cut off the beaks of these turkeys, chickens, and ducks with a hot blade so they wouldn't peck each other. And the machine that I was working on used an infrared light to treat that tissue so that they didn't have to cut it. It would just be treated, and then after a few weeks it would fall off.
Okay. Have you ever run any heavy equipment?
No, I have not run any heavy equipment.
Do you have an interest in learning fabrication skills and construction skills?
Definitely.
Okay.
I have introductory construction and welding skills.
Okay. Since you guys have a family, one thing we're learning is how to really make the home environment run smoothly as well.
Right.
So, and figuring out how to live in community and make sure that everything, like everyone is contributing to make it clean and clean up after themselves and have their own food and that kind of stuff, and that people's boundaries are protected or whatever, respected, I guess.
Respected.
Are you guys pretty? Do you have experience in that kind of stuff?
We do, because part of the time, like when I was talking about living in community, part of that included actually opening our home to people and sharing our living space with people as well. So we've opened up extra bedrooms, whether it's in an apartment or in a house, and shared with people pretty close living quarters. So we have experience with that as well.
Okay, I think we're getting close on time. So if you have any questions, I have a ton more for you, but let's open it up for you guys right now. If you have any questions or comments you want to make. Are you clear on what your job would be, or do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I think we're relatively clear on what the job would be. I'd like to talk a little bit more about how much of it would be internal training with other community members and how much of it would be external, more outreach.
Okay, so OSC really is. We have a lot of international attention, and a lot of people believe that we can achieve our mission. And we're not the only ones with this mission, but there's a lot of people that see that we're kind of leading the open hardware development and the development of the open source economy. That's kind of, we have a lot of responsibility in that sense. And so what that allows us to do is access a lot of subject matter experts within different fields. Mm-hmm. And they can guide the development of curriculum. So we can find the best techniques in the world and then, create training materials around those skill sets with, leading experts from all over the world. And then we also will apply that locally to people who come to Factory E Farm to get training. But then everything we do has, an on-site training component and then a distance learning component. So it's a dual role.
So would you say it's 50-50? I mean, just to be rough.
right now it's mostly going to be the distance training with some hands-on stuff. I mean, like basically what our on-site training looks like is it's not structured yet, and the people learn by doing and doing the projects. But then we do want to have a formalized training program on site. And right now we are offering like cross training programs on Saturdays where people work together to learn new things. And even on like Tuesday night we have kind of like a learning class that we're trying out. Like we're learning CAD together on Tuesday nights sometimes. That's kind of cool. But there's a lot of work to do to develop the system. So since that alarm's going off and I think we're close to time. Where are you guys? Moorhead?
We're in Wilmer.
Okay. I used to live in Moorhead.
Okay.
Yeah, I was
Not
born
too
in
far.
I was born in Dickinson, but
Okay.
yeah. Okay, I think that's time. So I'm gonna stop recording. Hang on for a second.